Barge costs the government every day? About 20 grand, if you want to know. Now, let's go to Steven Woolfe, a migration expert, regular on the show, former MEP, of course. Hello, Steven. Good to see you.
Hello. Good evening, Kevin. Afternoon, Kevin. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Listen, I smell a rat here. This barge has been in existence, I think, since 1976. It has housed migrants and homeless people all over the world, several countries. Germany, in Holland, it housed, I think, 500 construction workers for 2 years, many of them British, as a matter of fact. It was in the Shetlands, used as a construction boat as well. So 50 years it's been chugging around. It's never had any problems. Once had a terrorist threat, but not in and of itself has it ever caused a problem. Suddenly, it's going to be the big deterrent for the government's migration scheme. And guess what? Suddenly, it's a potential floating Grenfell. It's an inferno in the making, and more checks are required. The Transport Minister, Richard Holden, can't put a time frame on it. I mean, what is going on? I mean, I don't trust this situation. Do you?
Oh, this situation is laughable. It's also embarrassing for the government, isn't it, Kevin? Because quite frankly, as you pointed out, it's been in use for such a long time that if it was so dangerous to be at Grenfell levels, then no company would have been able to employ anybody to live on that boat at all. And therefore, what we're seeing is just another excuse being used by those who are opposed to any form whatsoever of managing this migration problem, managing those people illegally coming across on the channel, and managing an overburdened and really excessively costly migration system. It's just another excuse being used by those who just, quite frankly, want open-door migration.
And how long can fire checks take? OK, it's arguable. By the way, no one is suggesting it shouldn't be properly checked for fire risk. But how long must those checks take? And, you know, if they order some things that need to be done, fine, they'll have to be done. But when the immigration minister says, I can't put a time frame on it, why not? You're the immigration minister. Say to them, you got 1 week or 2 days. I wouldn't have thought you needed a week. Put a time frame on it. This is the government once again sucking it up and being the fall guys in the ongoing circus we call the migration crisis, isn't it?
I would certainly say that the government here have absolutely embarrassed themselves, because if you're in any job and you're a senior manager and you have a problem that arises, you would certainly go to those people who you employ to make those checks. And in this case, it's the civil service. And you would ask them, frankly, how long would it take to get this in place? And if somebody doesn't come back with a very simple answer and say, we've got to put fire doors on, there's 62 fire doors, each fire door takes 30 minutes, and therefore it's going to take a week, then somebody is not doing their job properly. So this goes back down to the civil service, who are failing to do their jobs, to be able to identify that there could have been potential problems that should have been dealt with in the first place, or it's been deliberately done to ensure that this policy is delayed and delayed and delayed.
Yeah, that's my feeling. Now, just before you go, Stephen, I want to talk to you about on the front page of the Daily Mail today. Last week, the Mail did an excellent investigation exposing 3 dodgy companies, solicitor law firms, who were tutoring asylum seekers on what to say. In other words, teaching them lies about torture, modern slavery, all of that stuff, warfare. These are the lies you must tell. You felt suicidal. In other words, filling in their forms with all the right things that get them the right to stay. Now, they were exposed. Fair play to the government. They've shut those, or the regulation board, through the auspices of the government, has shut those 3 companies down. Well done. And one legal advisor has had the Riot Act read to him because he was the one doing all the tutoring. My point would be, OK, in those 3 firms, in the Daily Mail, I saw 3 people who committed outright crimes. So why are they not being prosecuted? Why have they not been arrested? Never mind the firms, what about the individuals? And also, Stephen, we know that all over the country, I would suggest there are probably hundreds of companies like this doing the same thing. 3 companies and 1 bloke, it's not enough, is it?
No, and I think this is a very, very important test now for the Home Secretary, that she must ensure that these individuals are rightly prosecuted for the crimes or any crimes that are identified by the Crown Prosecution Service. It is clear that something is amiss. Certainly, it's welcome that the Solicitors Regulatory Authority has closed down the firms and are reprimanding them. But what I would also now add is that there should be a call by the government or those MPs for a full investigation of all law firms that are undertaking immigration work to ensure that they are, as I believe most of them will be, doing that honestly and fairly, but to make sure that those who aren't are caught. And extend this to non-governmental organisations and charities, because I believe that they too may have some that are not quite willing to play by the rules and fall by the wayside as well.
Well said. It's a racket and it's going on a grand scale, and it needs to be looked at and it needs to be cracked down on. Good to talk to you again, Stephen.